Hey P565, Athletics and the Law. My name is Victor Wales, and I've taken this class, and I'm here to give you a few tips on how to kind of survive what you're going to be going through the next 8 weeks. Um, this class is very different from the other classes that I've taken in this master's program. You don't get the videos every week, the chapter notes every week. And it's, when you first get this, you get the book and it's about 700 pages, and you watch the first video and it says, oh, you have a couple weeks to do chapters 1 and 2, and you think, oh, I'll just do my other class then. But then you realize that chapter 1 and 2 is about 400 pages. So you gotta kind of stay on top of things a little bit in this class. There's a lot of reading, and so here's some time management stuff that I've worked really well for me when I did this class. The first thing I did, because there's only about 4 big assignments, is I printed out all the rubric. So I knew what I had to do for these big assignments. So as I went through, I got a nice notebook and I printed out the rubric. And as I got to the different chapters, I would write down in my notebook when I got to the things that I knew were coming up as my big assignments, whether that was the emergency action plan, the safety checklist, or if the final is still the same, it was the PowerPoint presentation. So what I did was I got out my stuff, and so as I was going along, I would write down next to it. If I was doing negligence, I wrote down 2.1, because that was with the chapter. So when for the final, when it gives you the 20, parts of the law that you're supposed to do presentations, I would have it all written down. So I took out my final paper and I would just write down each chapter of the different types of law. So that way, when I got to them, when I was taking my notes, I'd make sure I knew, okay, this is the most important thing in this chapter, so that when, at the end of the semester, when I started my final presentation towards the end, I had it all written down. So it was really easy for me to go back, just look, and I could write down, on the PowerPoint slide, here are the 4 or 5 most important things, and keep going. So I think that's important. Just follow along with, don't try and create something. This is kind of a law class, so it's a little bit different. It's very, definition oriented. And one of the important things is that read the case study at the end of the chapters, so that you actually understand how what you learned is applied in the law. This class is going to, it's going to be eye-opening for you in a lot of different ways. Somebody who came back to grad school 20 years later, after coaching and now starting my own business, this class was essential in a lot of ways to the things that you need as you move forward in life. There's a lot of things as a coach, as a teacher, as a business owner, that you're going to be liable for, and you need to know the risks about. This class is really, really good in terms of giving you so much information that you would never even think about. Or it led me to rethink a lot of things I did as a coach over the past 2 decades, and realize that I would have been liable for some things that I had no clue at the time. I was just doing what I thought, oh, I can do this, or I can try that, or this is pushing the envelope a little bit, but now looking back on it, I was lucky. And I think it's good to know, if I had known some of the stuff that I learned in this class when I was in my 20s, I would have done some things differently over the past 20 years. So I think, this is the type of class where, if you didn't want to be a lawyer, and now you're taking a law class, it can be, a little overwhelming, and it can be a little dry at some points. But you have to also realize that you're a leader. And if you're going to be somebody who's going to be in charge of other people, and you're going to be responsible for them, then this is the great class to learn what your responsibility will be, what your liability will be. And so I think this is the type of class that this is stuff that maybe you won't use every day, but when you need to use it, it's going to be vitally important for not only you keeping your job, but being successful in what you do. So I hope that's kind of a pep talk for this class, because there's, like I said in the beginning, I was a little overwhelmed without having the weekly guidance that I've gotten in some other classes. But then the realization about how important this information was for me going forward, really made me sit down and take a different approach to this class. And how am I going to teach, other people, to follow what I'm asking them to do and from a legal perspective. So I hope that helps. Again, just take good notes, write down the chapters, and just, follow the structure that's already in place for this class. Other than that, good luck, and I hope you all do very well.